listening to Blue Collar Takes with your hosts, Pat and Ben.
Welcome back, everybody. Pat, happy Father's Day, brah.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. You too.
Yeah, it's been a great day. I feel like I just saw you.
Yeah, it was a fun day at work for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, bro. We have a lot going on, a lot to talk about.
I don't know. Do we?
No? Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
And yes.
yeah. Really, the only thing that we didn't see coming
Yeah.
was this
Not on the
assassination of
bingo.
the Democrats in Minnesota.
Yeah, not on the bingo card. I did
No,
not have that one
no.
coming. Yeah, wow, what a fucked up thing this has turned out to be.
Yeah, I can't believe, dude. I can't believe that guy's still not caught.
Yeah. He had a plan, obviously. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we talked about it a little bit between you and I. Like, if you So he goes to the first. Oh, let's just recap because
Let's see. Let's.
maybe somebody doesn't know how this all shook out.
Well,
Right?
I think we're privy to a lot more information just because of the people that we follow from around the state.
Yes.
That stuff is not that we have a lot of nationwide followers, but we do have a couple. And so they're not gonna. There's some stuff that we got from
Sources
that they've put out on X, like they didn't talk to us,
right?
but they're local reporters that have obviously connections in the law enforcement community.
Yes. And we heard other things from people within the law enforcement community about the infighting between feds
Yes.
and local state police, things like that. So yeah, let's just talk about it. So yeah, on No King's Day, right? Early in the morning, No King's Day.
Right. So 2 a.m, I think, was the first one.
Yep. Psychopath shows up at a lawmaker's house, knocks on the door, dressed in a uniform with body armor on,
Has a police vehicle.
has a police vehicle. Well, what was it? A Centaurian security vehicle. Well, it looks like a police vehicle.
Praetorian.
Yes, Praetorian. Sorry.
Praetorian security.
Yeah, real good name.
Yeah. Don't know history.
Right. Shows up, knocks on the door. They open the door, and he proceeds to get to blasting. So he shoots a husband and wife. The husband was a lawmaker, and he shoots them both. They live.
They got shot like 5 and 6 times each.
Yes, and they lived. And I can only assume that they called the police for themselves, because the police showed up or responded.
So I think it was a neighbor, because the neighbor heard the gunshots and then looked outside and was like, "Why is there a police vehicle leaving? There was just gunshots."
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then the police show up and render life-saving aid, which apparently if they hadn't got there when they did, it would have been pretty bad.
Yep.
And in the process of that, one cop decides, it was a shift sergeant from Brooklyn Park, says, "Hey."
Yep.
Says, "Hey, the first shooting was in Champlin. Brooklyn Park PD went over to help."
Yep. Mutual aid.
And they realized they had another lawmaker in Brooklyn Park, and they said, "Hey, get a unit over there and check on them.
Go check on her right now."
Yep. And so that unit pulls up to her house. The second lawmaker sees the security vehicle with its lights on, emergency lights activated, in the driveway. And as they're coming up to the house, this dude's walking out of the house, and they confront him. And he draws down on these two officers and opens up.
Yep. He then goes back inside, which makes more sense now. Why? Because I was like, how did he get away? So he went back inside and went out the back door while they were
back door.
While it was 1 or 2 units was just taking fire.
Right. And I mean, we had a lot of questions from some of the people around us earlier today and yesterday. How did they get away? How come the police didn't go in after him? They don't do that.
No. Well, they think they have a barricaded suspect, right?
Right. And
So
if there's two officers, they're not going to split up and send one to the back and keep the other one in the front. That's not what they do.
right, right,
They need more bodies to secure things. And what they will do is put a cord on around the block and block off things like that. They're not going to, eventually, when they get more officers to the scene, yeah, they'll put people on the back door, they'll put people on the front door, so on and so forth. But they're not going to split up after they just got shot at
right,
and weaken their fighting posture, right? That's just not going to happen. They don't. No one does that.
right,
So he did have a chance to go in the front door and right out the back door, and that's exactly what he did, and he got away. Now you and I talked about this. How did you get away?
right.
Right? His vehicle was in the driveway, and he took off.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way he made it from where they were executed to his house or his apartment or town. I don't know what the house that he rented. No, there's no
Yeah.
way that he made it on foot there.
Right. So okay, so let's go back just a little bit. So it turns out this guy has a
Mhm.
house in a city out west.
Yes.
They call it a family home.
Like a
Right. So I'm
vacation
guessing
home.
it maybe it's his parents' house because he grew
Mhm.
up in that area. Um his wife has a place where she's a doctor
Mhm.
and he rents a room from a third house in Minneapolis.
Which is very weird.
Yep. So he goes to Minneapolis somehow. He
Gets
gets
there.
to he gets to Minneapolis. And then he gets another car.
Yes. His car.
Another one is his vehicles,
Right. Because this was a company security vehicle, right?
which he owned.
Which he
He
owned.
owned the company, or
Well,
it's technically his wife.
his wife, but he was the what, director of security patrols or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Basically
yeah,
like the boss, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, he goes back home and gets another vehicle and then continues to evade police all throughout the day on No King's Day.
Right.
Uh, and it was kind of interesting following this because like so many things came out about this guy, right? Like he worked at this company, the security company, that him and his wife owned. He ran it, she owned it, it was in her name. Then he was with another company called Red Lions Group LLC,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a company that works out of the Congo, a security company that
Right.
operates in the Congo. And he's on video. You showed me the video earlier. We watched
Mm-hmm.
the video of him preaching in the in the Congo, right?
Yeah.
And he's really I don't it's just a very
It
strange individual.
the whole thing. We kept saying this whole thing is so weird, and it
Yeah.
just keeps getting
Yeah, it's
weirder.
getting more weird. His Facebook page is scrubbed.
Yep. It was down before they released his name.
Yep. So that's gone. His name is scrubbed from the Red Lion Group LLC. He's the owner of the company, or at least that's what it said on LinkedIn. He's the CEO, not the owner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's interesting. And he's scrubbed off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's it's just something's not right here. Like this is very very strange. The two lawmakers that he killed voted against.
Yeah. So
They voted against allowing illegal aliens to continue to have free health care.
so
So the
what?
Republicans put a bill forward, right?
Yep. So what happened was the both the Senate and the House in Minnesota are split even,
Yep.
and the governor is obviously Walz. So Walz and the Republicans made a deal that they would get rid of the free health care for illegal immigrants for adults, right? So they're
Mhm.
still going to provide care for kids.
Mhm.
The adults lose health care. These two Democrats were the only two Democrats to vote, and that was
They
part of
were
the
needed.
agreement, right?
They were needed.
So because she was she's basically the leader in the House. She was the
Mhm.
former speaker. Um, and I'm not sure what his role was, how he got it, but he must be a leader in the Senate. Anyways, these two were the two that were picked to vote no to get the bill passed because they're in a special session. So like they didn't get it done. They've now agreed to one, and so
Right.
this passed, and it went to the governor's desk the day before the shooting.
Right. And it neither one of these two wanted to vote
No,
yes. They wanted
they
to vote no or
yeah
present. They didn't want to be a part of this. And look at where it got them. which is really, really weird. And then he also had a manifesto in his police vehicle or in his security vehicle and a list of others that he was going to target. And some of the names on the list were Governor Walz, Keith Ellison, Ilhan Omar, AOC, and other Democrats that he wanted to go after. And that makes this whole fucking thing even stranger.
Well, yeah, and he had the No Kings flyers.
Yes. And
So
it
the
makes things.
anti-Trump rally, and he had a list of 70. So the manifesto is just a list of names, just a hit list,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it's 70 Democrats
Right.
and Planned Parenthood.
And it makes this thing even crazier because he killed the two that voted no
Right.
or voted yes. They voted yes to kill the
Right. Yeah, they
the
voted.
illegals from
Yep.
receiving free healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
So he killed those two, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, on the face, if you kill those two, it looks like political retaliation for them voting yes to
Correct.
get rid of to get rid of you know healthcare for illegals, and he did it on No King's Day, a day where they're you know protesting Trump, calling him a king, and
Yeah.
really what that is, I mean, this has exploded from the deportation shit, is what it all
Yes.
comes
Yeah,
down
it's
to.
all tied to that.
So everybody's kind of thinking, okay, this is a political killing of these two because they
Mm-hmm.
voted yes with the Republicans. But
Yep.
then he's got 68 other names on a list that are all Democrats that are far left,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and it kind of shocks me. Like, I mean, he had Keith Ellison, he had Walz, he had Ilhan Omar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had everybody
Yep.
on this list.
Yep.
So it's very strange because, like, he really going to carry out more killings against all these far left Democrats? Is he a far right conservative? Is he just crazy? Is this something even more nefarious that we're not seeing, that we're kind of like our conspiratorial minds we were talking about at work today? We were like, bro, something is not adding up here.
Yeah, you know my favorite part about working with you the last 2 days are just with this going on. Like all the conspiracy talk, like, and it's not even conspiracy talk. It's just like, okay, well, how about this? Like, nothing makes sense.
Nothing makes sense.
Nothing about this makes sense. So let's go back to the timeline. So shoots the first two at 2 o'clock. He
Mm-hmm.
kills the second two at 4 o'clock. He's at his house at 6 o'clock. His wife gets pulled over way up north with it's rumored to
50
be
grand
50 grand in cash,
passport.
weapons, ammo, and passports with
Mm-hmm.
three family members.
Right. They're fleeing, right?
They're fleeing. Yeah, because it said there was three passports. So I don't know who didn't have one, but somebody was getting left behind
Right.
out of that car.
So
So then they detain her. Then he shows up on camera somewhere else, and he's changed his appearance again. Or
well,
well, he's changed his outfit.
we don't even know what his appearance was on the night of the murder because he had a mask on.
Well, yeah, he
So
ditched a uniform.
and this is what gets me, like, this is where the conspiracy starts, right? Like, when you can't identify a shooter, it could be
Yes.
anybody.
Yeah.
It could be anybody. Um, and like, how the hell does he get away? The only thing you can do, you have two options. You either have to have a ride, or you have to break into somebody else's house and steal a car and get the fuck out of there, right? That's it. You're not walking your happy ass all the way to Minneapolis with body armor on while all this is going on. You're going to get spotted. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, there's no
So
way you walked.
there's no way, none whatsoever. And he's older. He's not a spring chicken. He's got to be in his mid
50
to late 50s.
he's 57.
Yeah. So there's no way, right?
Right.
It's not happening. And he's
Yep.
not like he's not a unit. He's not a physical specimen.
No.
This is just an average. He looks like a guy who would run a business. Is what it is. He looks like a CEO, right?
Yep.
So that's your only two options. You either got a ride or you stole a car. And if there's nobody in the neighborhood who's reported a fucking stolen car, that kind of limits what happened, right? He
Right.
got a ride or caught a Uber or something, but that would have gotten reported already. Unless there's a dead Uber driver somewhere that nobody knows about. Like the options in this are just, it's fucked up. So of course, at work all day, we're like, what about this? Could this have happened? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
is this possible? Like, what if this? And really, I, it's so weird and it's so odd. Everything is the timeline, the escape, the
Yeah.
wife getting caught with money and trying to flee. All of it is so odd.
Yep.
The fact that he rented a house with some fat dude in a Papa John's, you know, pizza shirt.
Yeah.
We're working, which you
Just
pointed out. You're like, you're fired. You're
yeah.
wearing corporate
Mm-hmm.
freaking corporate clothing,
You're
and you're
working.
being interviewed by the police. They're looking at you. Yeah, okay, you're screwed.
Yeah, he
But
sat down with the media with his Papa John shirt on.
it makes you wonder, like, did this guy? He had all these places he could go. What were they for?
Yeah.
What? Why?
So
What?
so but we've missed a key point here. The biggest part of the conspiracy.
Okay.
He was appointed to
Yeah.
a board, an advisory board. For Tim Walz appointed him,
Yes.
and the governor before him, who was a Democrat, appointed him to the same board. His wife interned for Tim Walz when he was a congressman in
Yes.
D.C.
Yes. So he's connected, right? And then let's take that even further. What kind of shocks me or gets me here is if he's a CEO of some security group that he's installed in the Congo, he runs a security group here in Minnesota or over in Minnesota, not here for me, but for you.
Yeah.
He's been rumored to have traveled to Eastern Europe and he's been rumored to have traveled to Somalia and other places in the Middle East for security gigs. It tells you that he's got some kind of corporate security training or contract security training where he has gone and done stuff. Which then, when you saw the response of all the SWAT vehicles, all of the people and staging Lifelink out where they believe he is currently located, where
Mm-hmm.
they found the hat and the vehicle, they believe they are coming up against somebody who's well armed and decently trained, which is why they have all this stuff on all the resources on standby that they could possibly have. And
Yeah.
that's probably true. Now, this whole thing with like, I want you to throw this at you. I haven't thrown it at you. I didn't say anything about this today, but um, Red Lions Group in the Congo, he's not using American citizens in that group of contractors over there. Those are going to be people from Africa and people from uh, Europe in some form or fashion of people like that. He's
Mm-hmm.
not using Americans over there. That's not what happens with these contract groups that are overseas. Like you know that
Right.
from our line of work, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
uh it's really strange that a guy like him can just all of a sudden become a CEO of a company, pop overseas and create a security group in the Congo, a place that's like pretty dangerous for
Yeah.
Westerners,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just all of a sudden create this security group and get it off the ground and have it be running. And then we had heard also that the Red Lions group ran out of money 2 months ago.
Yeah. What happened 2 months ago, Ben?
Doge, right?
Right.
Doge killed USAID, and all of a sudden the money dried up. And
He
so
came
now we
back.
know he came back. He's here. So you've got all of these elements of this crazy situation floating around, and it just it screams conspiracy to me.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. We could very well have a nutcase on our hands here who just lost his mind and went and shot up a couple of freaking lawmakers in Minnesota. But
S- s-
there's
s-
something we're missing here. Something that
yeah.
it just seems
So one more to
too
add to the conspiracy part of it.
okay.
He served on that advisory board, and I can't remember the name of it. Some like professional economic development thing. He
Yep.
served
Oh yeah,
with the guy that he shot,
Hoffman.
the state senator that he
Yeah,
shot. They served together on the board,
right.
so he knew this guy, other than just being a state senator.
Correct. It's a very, very, very strange situation.
Yeah.
Um, so let me run down a list of options. Let's just start it. A conspiracy. Let's throw it out there and let's create a conspiracy of what it could be. Right. Not
So
saying this is what it is. Let's just
before
throw one out.
before we do that,
Yeah.
let's talk about you. You had a little bit of information on the infighting with law enforcement groups because I
Well,
think that plays part of it.
so yeah, and really it was kind of confirmed later on when I don't know if yeah, we'll talk about it, but so yeah, we have somebody who's a friend in law enforcement that works on that side of the aisle, or I should
Hmm.
say in that area where this was all taking place.
Hmm.
And it turns out the feds were not real keen on giving the, you know, state police information. So
Correct.
so they're like fighting back and forth, and the state police are like, "Listen, this is ours. You're riding along with us here, but," and the feds are like, "We don't fucking trust you. So,
Yeah.
we're going this alone because we think there's something different here." And I even more like things came out a little bit later, like, what did we have happen where you're like, well, that explains why the infighting is there, why there'd be infighting. Like, okay, maybe it's true, right? That this is all taking place. I can't remember what it was, but there's something that happened right off the
Shoot,
bat.
I can't remember either.
Um, it'll come to me. But the things that get really
Well, I
strange
think it
for
was a
me,
walls connection.
yeah, yeah,
As soon as we found out that he had
right.
worked, that his
Well,
wife had worked for Walls, and that he was appointed to a board by Walls,
yes, yes,
it
yes,
made
yes.
sense that the FBI kind of jumped in and was like,
That, that that's what it was. Because yesterday morning, we found out yesterday morning at like 10 o'clock in the morning that there was infighting between the feds
Mm-hmm.
and the state police. And
Yeah.
then it came out later in the day, and you're like, oh my God, he's connected to walls. And we're like, well, you're like, that
Yeah.
explains why the feds are like, well, back the
Mm-hmm.
fuck up. We know this
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it was. And we have heard nothing from our guy on the inside since. So, I mean, it's completely dark. Like they're not talking
Yeah.
about
They're
shit.
busy.
They're busy.
They're running all
So,
over the state.
yeah. And with their, like, chickens with their heads cut off at this point, they
Well,
don't know where he is.
he's got houses everywhere. He's got
Right.
3 different houses. She has a place. She's a doctor.
Yeah.
They found her way up north.
Yeah. I mean,
He's
there's
way out west.
so many options here. So many options. All right. So, first, I'm going to give you what I would do if I were him to escape.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing I would do is I would make it up to Lake Superior, and I would find somebody that I knew because he's a security guy. So he knows a lot of people with probably nefarious characters because he's a Congolese security freaking guy.
Yeah.
So I'd find somebody that I could pay off to get me out traveling via boat through the Great Lakes, through the
Yeah.
chains, all the way out to the container yards on the East Coast. And then I would take a fucking container ship and try to buy my way into a third world country like China or Russia or something where
Sure.
there's no diplomatic immunity, where I won't be freaking returned and I can just get away. Right. So as soon as they said that she's going north, I'm like, well, that's what I would do. I would try to be low key because really you can't fly on a passport. They've got facial recognition on everything and their Sentinel system. They're going to catch you.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to get away. They've got license plate readers. They've got your cell phone. They've got all your credit card. Anytime you use a credit card, they will know exactly where you are. The only way
Mm-hmm.
to stay dark is to stay on the water and get the fuck out. Now, he could have a boat. They could have some kind of boat or
Sure.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, they had all these companies that could buy assets in the company's names and create shell companies to hide them, especially if you're using funds from USAID to do things. So you
Mm-hmm.
could create shell companies and do all sorts of stuff. We know a lot of that stuff did happen through USAID. So there's many options of why they're going north to
Yeah.
get out of here. I mean, they could be going north to go across the border into Canada, to dip over and take a flight out of Canada somewhere and do the same thing. But you're going to get recognized, right? And like you said, what are they doing at the border right now?
Yeah. They're doing outbound operations.
Absolutely.
So
Checking everything, right?
for those that don't know, anytime anything happens, anything big like this,
Mhm.
or there's a possibility of someone running through one of the borders, they set up outbound operations and they check every vehicle and they search every vehicle headed out. And
Every single person in
they're
the vehicle,
not just
or
looking. Yeah, oh yeah, everyone gets run in NCIC. Everybody gets out. The whole vehicle gets searched. You're not just looking for somebody. You're looking for money. You're looking for anything that could help them. Like if their ID is hidden somewhere in there, whatever. We had a couple times where we dealt with some stuff that was supposedly coming our way. It didn't ever come through our port, but it went through one of the other ports that they got them. But yeah, it's instant. Like they do it down south all the time for drug money, but
Right.
up north it happens pretty much when someone kills somebody and they suspect them
They're on the
fleeing
run.
into Canada.
And
Yeah,
so that's got to be happening at every port right now, right?
I would imagine. Yeah,
So I mean, there really is no other option to
and
me for you to get away.
if they really think so, a lot of the ports on the northern border are they close down. They're 13-hour ports. That's one of the ports that I worked at. We just locked the gate, right?
Yeah.
Well, with that, if they suspect him going there, they will station a border patrol agent at the gate when they're not there. There will always be somebody there
Okay.
until
So until
they
this
get
thing
him.
is solved.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I mean, because it makes it even harder to get out. You can't go by land, right?
right.
You can't go by air, so that leaves sea. So maybe that's the fleeing north thing. I don't know. We'll see. It's this whole thing's gonna shake out, but it just seems very strange to me, right? Like
Yes.
there's so much crazy in this whole ordeal that it's just hard to believe that
Everything feels like a fiction, like
yeah, it's like
fiction
a
right now.
movie.
Yeah,
It's a movie, right? There's
yeah.
just too many strings you can pull on and unravel some sort of theory, right? So let's get into a theory because I was thinking about this and this has bothered me. We talked about it yesterday during the No Kings. Uh, we said, okay, well, there's a potential that there's more threats to these Democrats at the No Kings events, right? He's going to show up
Hmm.
and he's going to go out like a terrorist would. He's going to Allahu Akbar himself and he's going to shoot as many people as he can and he's going to die. And originally, Walls had shut down the No Kings events. He had posted out the emergency notification like, don't go to the events, don't do it, blah, 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 blah. It's canceled for the day. All these are done in Minnesota. And he did that because there was specific intel or information that they were a target, right?
Hmm. Yeah, they were
So,
all those people that were supposed to speak were on his list,
right. So he could show up at one of
and
those events in
and
the
he had
Minneapolis event.
and he had flyers for him.
Right.
But he
Okay.
didn't just have flyers like I'm going to it. There was like hundreds of flyers, like he was handing them out,
But like he was part of the group that was posting them places.
organizing it. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's move to this.
Okay.
If you had two lawmakers murdered or almost murdered, one severely injured,
Yeah.
earlier that morning, you knew the nut job who did it was on the run and was looking to kill more people.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you take your happy ass like Keith Ellison and go to an event and then speak at this event with they don't have counter snipers. They don't have Secret Service there. They
No.
don't have, they have Podunk Police Department there, standing in riot gear around, not looking for frickin' a shooter in a building. They're looking for people throwing tear gas or fireworks and shit like that. Would you go and get on that stage and praise and preach about Trump being a Nazi and praise the Democrat Party and do all these things?
No.
Absolutely not, right?
Nope.
So then the only
Because
time I would do that,
you're 8 miles away from where this all happened.
yeah, you don't know where this guy is, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So the only way I would do that is if I knew this guy was not a threat,
Correct.
right? And so
Yeah.
that's where the conspiracy for me really starts.
Of course.
Is like, bro, you're Keith Ellison. The most important person to Keith Ellison is fucking Keith Ellison.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch him talk, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a slime ball. He's connected to everything. Everything dirty in Minnesota politics, this slimy fuck is connected to. Everybody who follows him knows it, right?
Yeah.
So this slime ball who has been told that he's being targeted gets on stage with zero fear whatsoever and talks like he is perfectly comfortable the entire time.
Yeah.
Not
He's
looking
fine.
around the crowd, not looking up in the freaking buildings, not like, hey, is there a guy who's gonna shoot me out there?
Right.
Definitely not like what Trump was doing after Trump got shot at, right?
Right. Right.
So I mean, like that's where the conspiracy for me starts. Like, could this
Mm-hmm.
have been an inside job, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And was it? We talked about it earlier. Like, what better way on No King's Day to kill a couple Democrat lawmakers, call Trump a Nazi, blame a far right wing lunatic, and then you stir up this freaking violence and you burn the whole thing down. And then if you stirred up in Minnesota, how many other, there was hundreds of these events around the country.
Yeah.
Maybe it spreads. Maybe it spreads like a wildfire and you can get it to go, right?
Yeah.
But then that got shut down. That theory got shut down because Walls is like, nope, everybody stay home. Nobody fucking go out. Too dangerous.
Yeah.
People
So
did anyways, but
yeah, so that the organizer did officially cancel it. Walls did not speak like he was supposed to. Uh and a bunch of the other state reps did not.
didn't as well.
They
Yeah.
didn't do anything. Right. Um yeah, it's wild. I mean, for me it was when the FBI came in and said, yeah, we're taking over, and then them fighting back and saying, no, this is ours.
Right.
And then basically kind of alluding to, and it hasn't been confirmed in so many words, but they're basically running independent investigations, sounds like.
Yes.
So,
Parallel,
I
but
mean, they're helping with the manhunt, obviously,
right.
but as far as like the investigation goes, I don't know.
Parallel investigations, but
They're
they're
either
not talking.
standing right over their shoulder to make sure everything's done correctly,
Right.
or they're
Doing
doing a
their own.
parallel. Yeah,
Yeah. And I think it's probably both. I think they
I'm
probably
sure
have
it is.
advisors with the state, and they're doing their own thing because you know that fucking Washington has already called Dan Bongino and Cash Patel probably looked at this thing right off the onset and were probably like, this stinks.
Yeah.
Something doesn't
What
smell right here.
Bondi too? Like they all
Yeah.
immediately they had assets on the ground here for them.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and it's such a crazy situation, right? I mean,
Hmm.
if it really is a crazy right wing lunatic, which he's not a right wing lunatic, that's what gets me. He's not a conservative,
Well, yeah,
right?
everybody's saying he is, but until this happened, he wasn't. Like
Right, right. I mean,
you don't get appointed by two Democratic governors if you're a right wing lunatic.
correct,
Right?
correct.
Like, yes, I understand it was a nonpartisan board. You know what? People who donate or have their wives work for the person are the people that get fucking put on them.
Right. And you know what? Also, the J6 committee was a nonpartisan board.
Right.
So that's how this thing
Fair.
operates.
Fair. Yes,
You know
fair.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how it works. You will pick your allies to be on these things. And his wife worked for Walls.
Yeah, it
She
was an
interned.
intern in Washington.
So she worked for him. So he had inside knowledge about this guy, about what he was gonna do whatever Walls wanted anyway. So at best you can say this guy's political affiliation was he was a political whore at best.
Yes. Yeah,
So
whoever's writing the checks, it didn't matter to him.
yeah,
And that
100%.
could be. It could be.
For sure. But it just doesn't make sense why now of all things would you go off your rocker and kill somebody. But then when we saw the video of him talking about, sexual immorality, whether he's talking to people in the Congo as he's
Yeah, he's
preaching to them,
preaching. He was
preaching the
preaching,
Bible to him.
which he was there for security. What's he preaching?
What's well, so then here's a little bit inside baseball that we haven't talked about yet that was coming from our buddy from the military.
Yeah.
Um, we have organizations within our government that are trying to draw mineral rights and minerals out of that area. And
Hmm.
is there a potential now? I haven't confirmed this, but he's a smart guy and he doesn't tell us anything unless he wants us to dig and look, right?
Hmm.
He's not going to come out and say stuff.
Yeah.
Is there a potential that maybe these security groups are over there to secure areas to make them less violent so they can go in there and exploit things for minerals or whatever the fuck it is over there that they're getting out of the Congo? I don't even know what it is in the Congo that you're trying to get.
I'm sure it's rare earth minerals.
So is that the reason why it was profitable over there? And then we kill the USAID contract, which somebody somewhere in our government got this guy a USAID contract, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So is there the potential that that's what's going on? He's trying to use the Christianity gig to get as many people that he can because he's not using Minnesotans to secure the Congo.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You kind of stick out like a sore thumb. So he's
Yeah.
not using Minnesotans over there. He's using either Inditch, which is indigenous people locals, or he's
Hmm.
using people that have been over in the area like French or um Western Europeans, Italians. He's using people like that have visited and have performed their own operations over there. And he's hiring them out to do the security. So it just seems very, very strange. Is there a possibility that we've been kind of given a tip like, hey, go look in this direction? And that was this afternoon after I was on my way home from work, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have time to go freaking, it's Father's Day. I had to come home and spend time with my kids. So I didn't have time to actually look into it. So that'd be an interesting one.
Yeah.
One of the listeners is going to dig and they're going to look at it and they're going to
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some reason, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
And that to me is like, okay, so now what? What does that have to do with the rest of it?
Well,
Right?
and we didn't even get to the part for today, right? Like to now the last 5 hours, or I guess now 9, like 7 or 8 hours, they've been searching out west because they found another vehicle that he was in that they apparently knew about because they were looking for that vehicle, but they never put anything out, which I don't understand. And his hat on the side of the road, which seems completely fucked up.
A decoy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going north, I'm going to bring things southwest or southeast, and I'm going to drop stuff and I'm also, what I would do is I would also run my happy ass out into the woods and exit the woods on the other side and have another person pick me up over there, and I would take off.
Yeah,
Right.
have the
So
dogs leading you to the woods.
have the dogs lead you to the woods, right? And honestly, like when you don't, they teach you this in SEER school. When you in SEER schools like survive, evade, resist, escape. It's a school in the military that they send you through to give you the ability if you're ever behind enemy lines and you're stuck to get away, and if you get captured and how to escape. What they teach you in SEER school is you don't evade the dog. It's almost impossible. You have to evade the handler, right?
Right.
You have to make it so the handler stops trusting the dog. He has to believe that the dog has not got the track. So you're going left and you're going right and you're going left and you're going right and you're doubling back and then you're going forward and you're going left and you're going into the thickest rhubarb you could fucking find. And then you're going right and then you're going left and you're doing all this in circles to piss the handler off and be like, this fucking mutt doesn't have the track. It just lead me on a wild goose chase. It's got some animal that it's going after, right? And that's what you're trying to do when you're trying to escape a dog. You're not trying to, you can't. You can't escape a dog whose nose is on. The dog will get you. You have to escape the handler, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. I would have gone into those woods and I would have went all over the fucking place if I had a couple extra hours, and I wouldn't have my car hidden until, afterwards. You want to be hidden while you do this so you can put as much scent in there as you can to draw them in as a decoy. And of course, why do you wear the hat? You wear the hat because it's ridiculous and it's going to draw attention to yourself. And it's scent on your head, and your head and your feet have the most scent that you can put on things. And he leaves it right on the side of the road. To me, that is an obvious decoy, and that's SEER 101.
Agreed.
You don't leave that shit behind, right?
Yeah.
So it's obvious decoy to me right off the bat. And obviously he went into the woods because he's got to be pretty well trained. He goes into the woods and draws the dogs into the woods, and he came out the other side or did something. And if he's smart, he defeated the handlers in there. He just went around and fucked around in those woods and made it impossible for the handlers to find a trail.
Yeah.
And
which,
so
when they showed it, the aerial video of it, there was no dog. They were lined up and they were marching the entire field. Like, so I'm guessing you're right. Like the dog just, whatever, they lost faith in the dog and pulled them and said, we're just searching the field.
it had to be what he did, which then again, that tells me that he's got SEER training, right?
Yeah.
So who is this fucking guy? Kind of training to evade. Who the hell is he? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know.
It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. Sorry. The intermission took a little longer than I thought. I pulled up X to see what I could find, and there's a shelter in place order issued near my house.
I saw that.
Yeah. So it's not related. That's just a regular domestic. No big deal.
Just one of the common ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got some sort of training. You know what I mean? He's got a level of training.
He has to. He got, so had that cop not thought to check on Horton, they would have never known who this guy was.
Right. Yeah, they
if
never would have
if
been
it
there.
was just the two, right? Like
Right.
say we're right on the rest of it being
Cover.
just a cover, correct?
Yeah.
They would have never gotten this guy. They didn't have video of him. They didn't have
He's
video of the car. The only way they got him was because of that one sergeant on patrol that night said, "Get to Horton's house and check on her."
yeah. Kind of a it's very I don't know, man. There's just so much to this that
Mm-hmm.
like we're almost always you can make the pieces fit, right?
Yeah.
And let's use the United Healthcare or United
Oh yeah.
Health CEO, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That what was it, Mangiani or whatever the kid's name was that killed him.
Yeah, I believe
Oh,
so.
there's always something that makes it fit, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this kid had a back surgery, wasn't covered, was pissed off that it wasn't covered, and was mad that rich people, the top 1%, are making all this money and screwing the little people, and he was also getting screwed himself. So he took it upon himself to exact, a little revenge. He wants his pound of flesh, and he took it, right?
Yeah.
Typically in these situations, you can make it work. You can find a working theory pretty quick, right?
Right.
There's usually a motive. Well, what's this guy's motive? What's the motive here, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
He's a political slut. We've already talked about that. He's a contract security worker. He he runs his own company or is the CEO of his own company. He's doing all of these things and he's got a wife that's a doctor who's making a good amount of money on the side. He's well off. It's not like this guy's hard up for money. It's not like he's hurting in any way, shape, or form if he's got all these other side gigs and he's the director of this and the CEO of this and his wife is a doctor and they've got a house here and a car here and a house over here and they've got properties all over the place. So
Mhm.
it's not like this guy is hurting for money. That's not typically the person who takes it upon himself to go axe two freaking lawmakers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff there's just nothing that fits right now
No.
until we get a motive, until we get something stronger, something more connective, more fibrous that we can tie it into this guy. It just seems very odd to me right now. And this just came
Agree.
in.
Yeah.
This just came in from our a listener, um, the one who gave us the gift. Uh,
Oh yeah.
he said this assassination in Minnesota is a black site job for sure.
Ha- The the longer this goes with nothing, it has to be.
Oh,
Which is maybe that's why the FBI jumped in right away. Like you guys don't have the ability to look for this.
so this is what this individual said. And this
Yeah.
individual is also very well trained, right?
Yes. Yep.
Has been around the block a time or two, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what he says. 300-pound dude is not the guy with the Breaking Bad mask and ring cam. The only Dem to vote against giving criminals illegal aid in Minnesota and her husband are killed. This was a message to stay in line by the NWO WEF pedophile cabal / Soros Foundation. Bottom line. And I say, but there's so many people that believe that right now that those people are bad to the core that you can't. It's the Clinton ring, like the same thing with the Clinton ring. These people are shitty people doing shitty things, and
Yeah.
I can't tell him he's wrong. You know what I mean? Like
No, no one can.
no one can because they're evil fucking people.
Well, that's the only thing that makes sense at this point.
Yeah,
How the fuck is this guy evading all of the cops? There so
you
when
have
we
to have help,
saw
bro.
the response out west today, there were two highways headed out that way. There
Mm-hmm.
were 30 state patrol, armored vehicles, everything on the one highway. There were
Yes.
25 on the other. There was four counties had their SWAT teams out. They had helicopters, they had the state patrol plane, they have everything. They have everything. And they can't find this guy. For when did this
So
happen? 2 days now?
yeah, So like one of the things I took a course a long time ago in civilian invasion, right? Um, and this is probably 2012 ish
Mhm. Okay.
that I took this course. Um, and the guy giving it was a former he worked for I think it was NSA or whatever. He's a local here he was a local in Minnesota. Um, right around you, Apple Valley.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, crazier than fucking nuttier than squirrel shit. I mean, this dude was he was out there. But
Hey, hang on. My wife just sent the thing. They got him. Arrested, not dead.
oh boy, where'd they get him?
I don't know. Breaking news is in custody. He was arrested minutes ago near Green Isle, where they were searching all
Up,
day.
so they got him in
Out
that area.
west, out west, where they sent everybody today.
Wow,
7 hours ago.
that's insane.
Yep. I can't believe he's alive.
I can't either. Obviously, he didn't have weapons.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
were in his
he
car.
must have ran out, or they were in the car. Like
They were in his
something happened to the car and he got out quick, or and
they were in
then
his car. Well, they were in his the security vehicle because he had a lot of weapons and extra ammo and
oh
stuff in
yeah,
the security
yep.
vehicle. Um, that's crazy.
So now that's another it's another wrinkle. Like no way did we thought this guy was going to be caught alive. There's no
No,
motive. If he had killed himself, we'd never know.
no, you never know.
And with all the companies that he started and the money he was getting from USAID, you know laundering that through places. So you wouldn't even be able to track that.
No, not at all. But now it makes you wonder why is his wife going north?
Well, maybe she was just trying to get out. She was
She wants
afraid he
away,
was going to come. Maybe she took the three youngest because
and
they never
ran.
said who the relatives were.
Right, and he's
She
got
took
five kids.
yep. She took the three youngest. The two
Ugh.
older ones look like they could be out of the house.
Well, best case scenario, they get the guy with no law enforcement being injured in this process, and now we wait and see how this shakes out. We wait and figure out what the fuck they find out. Right? You know they're gonna pour over all his social media. They're gonna pour over all of his digital footprint that he has. They're gonna go through everything, and we'll know. We'll know for sure by the end of tomorrow that this guy for sure is the guy or not, right? I mean, they already think he is the guy, right? Everything's all the signs
Yeah.
point to
So
him.
from Liz Collins online said that law enforcement appears to have assassin suspect Vance Bolter in custody in a field in Sibley County. According to radio traffic, he was tracked into the woods. When a drone flew overhead, he put his hands in the air and walked towards officers in a SWAT vehicle. Multiple sources say he was spotted near a residence in Green Island and began running down a driveway into the woods wearing all black with a backpack. At one point, he tucked in the fetal position and began to army crawl until eventually stood up to surrender. Weird.
Very weird.
The whole thing's fucked up.
The whole thing's weird. 100% is weird.
Is this
Um,
just this guy that got lucky and is completely off his rocker or what?
it's so hard to say. Like,
Yeah.
I agree with our listener that
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't look like this guy in the video or in the picture, right?
No, no.
Um, the guy in the picture with the mask looks like he's fit.
Yeah.
And this guy looking at him right now is he looks like he's old and bubblegum.
Yeah.
So it I don't know, man. Like maybe it was him. Maybe the body armor helped him look bigger, look better, or whatever. The
What?
mask and
Yeah.
whatever, right?
So what I will tell you is with my Ring camera, I do enjoy those pictures of me because I do look smaller. However, I think the biggest thing was when we saw that other picture of him, that was a heavy jacket. And you're right, he was probably kitted up underneath.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
so I think that's just what it is, to be honest. Whereas
Yeah,
when he was
it's
there, he was just trying to look like a cop, right? Like he didn't have all the shit on. He was at 2 a.m. They weren't going to be armed. He knew that. I mean, he knew the one guy. Plus, they're
it's
Democrats. They hate guns.
it's
And
insane.
they have to retreat farther into their house.
Yeah, I know.
They can't shoot it.
Well, yes and no. I disagree with that. I mean, I've had that argument with guys that
Listen,
work so
yeah,
much now.
yeah,
Like,
no,
holy fuck, dude.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So this whole thing it's weird, man. And
Yeah.
time will tell. Time will come out. Time will make it work. And I was gonna say before when before you came in with the breaking news that they got him, that the only way you get away in this situation is you have to set up like what's called a black corridor. And in the black corridor, you stick between, your left limit and your right limit, and you have to have some places that you're going and leaving information for whoever's following you to meet you in a place, right? Um, us in the military, what we would do is we would leave piles of rocks or stick formations or whatever, and we would say Alpha, and that told you that you would go look at this grid location because we would predetermine what grid location I would go to, like Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I would tell you those would all switch each day, and I would have a list of those in my pocket or in my book that I carry with me. And if I'm trying to evade, I would lay that on the ground and you would see it and you'd be like, okay, yep, he's in Black Corridor Bravo on Tuesday, so he's going to this grid location. We need to look in this grid location for him.
Mm-hmm.
And you do the same thing, and this guy taught us the same thing, but you do it with like storage locker locations or
Oh, sure.
things you can rent, like bank vault or what are they, safety deposit boxes at the
Yeah.
bank. You leave messages there, and you leave vehicles, and you leave gas, and you leave
Sure.
escape plans. That's the only way he could have done it to get away. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously now we know, like, he wasn't as good as we thought he was because he stayed in that same spot. But he also might have been out of fucking options. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's called his family, and his family's like, "Fuck you, we're leaving." They're going north,
Mm-hmm.
and he's probably called his fucking Papa John's roommate, and his Papa John's roommate's probably like, "Dude, they kicked in our door.
Yeah. I can't leave.
I can't go anywhere. This is
We're
Minneapolis."
we're gonna have squatters.
So there's nothing that he could do. I mean, he was on his own at that point, which tells me this is the beautiful thing about media. When the media is used to like hunt you down,
Yeah.
it takes away all your options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not only do you have the most premier law enforcement agency on the planet with all the technology that they can possibly use, plus
Mm-hmm.
local and state
Mm-hmm.
assets, you also have the media targeting against you, and everybody's looking for you. And in the digital age, it's impossible.
It's
So,
impossible. Yeah.
so he went to this place and tried to hide, and he got called up. They got him, and they put him in there. They hemmed him up in there, and they finally pulled him out. But we didn't know that it was an eyewitness that brought them to him, saying that they saw him running through in black clothing with a backpack, right? That could have changed all of our opinions from the beginning.
Sure.
Like, okay, he's in this area. But so now the question still exists. How did he get from the lady's house all the way there? How did he get to the second vehicle? You know what I mean? There's got to be somebody else that helped him along the way. Has to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I agree. Or he fucking called an Uber.
But don't you think that Uber would have came forward and been like, "Hey, there's a guy in fucking body armor," and
So I'm not going to yeah, I don't think most of them care.
really?
I mean,
There's just some bird.
there's a certain group of people that aren't going to call the cops
Yeah,
that are
for
a
sure.
lot of the Uber drivers in
Yeah,
Minneapolis.
it's a burnout Uber driver who's like, bro, telling all his buddies
It's
right now,
probably
I just
honestly, it's probably a
Somali.
Somalian.
Yeah, yeah, could be crazy. It's good that they got him.
Yeah.
Uh, at least nobody else got hurt, and now we're gonna get the story. And fuck, if this guy dies in jail,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's hope that he doesn't suicide in jail, and
L-
let's
They
get some answers.
they put him in
You
the
know,
Epstein cell.
yeah, dude, like that. If that happens, people are gonna go so fucking nuts with this
They
story.
you'll never recover from the conspiracies from that.
Never,
You'll never.
never. Right now, just looking at this, either this guy did it and he was just not as good as we thought he was originally, or he didn't do it and he was panicked and trying to figure out what the fuck to get away from
Yeah.
what he thought was certain death. But those are the only two options at this point for me. He either did or he didn't. He's either being Lee Harvey Oswald, set up, patsy, whatever, or he's being, caught because he wasn't as good as we originally thought, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so now let's see. Like everything we talked about before, it's moot. It doesn't matter.
Not anymore.
But if this dude fucking dies in his prison cell or in jail, oh my god.
Well, I think it
The
matters until we find out, right? Until we
Yeah,
get more.
sure. Which is coming. That's
Yeah,
within a
that
couple days.
I
Within two
would.
days, we're gonna have everything.
I bet that motherfucker seems like he wants attention. He's gonna like. I'll confess, is you could do it live on TV. Like it's gonna be
That'd be
some.
great.
There'll be something fucked up like that.
That'd be
Like
great. We're gonna podcast live during that, and we're like, dude,
yeah, yeah,
this guy.
yeah.
Yeah, so good. They got him.
They got him.
There's like Trump said it too. There's no room in our political system for political violence.
Doesn't
I hate
matter. Yeah,
Democrats. Some Democrats. I hate Adam Schiff. I hate Nancy Pelosi. I still don't want anybody to go over there and take them out. That
100%. Yeah.
the way we take them out is with our brains. It's with our ideology, and it's with our voting power. We don't do it. We
Mhm.
don't do it with violence, right?
Correct.
That's
Correct.
just it's not how things are supposed to work.
Not here.
Nope, not here. This is not a third world. It's this we have a constitution and we have our own powers to use.
Mhm.
So let's do that. And if this guy did take out lawmakers pretending to be a conservative or a Democrat or whatever the fuck, doesn't matter, he needs to pay a hefty price for it, and he will. I'm sure he will.
Well, if they charge him federally, they can give him the death penalty.
And they will.
I think
I,
they will.
they
I do.
100% they will.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
no doubt in my mind that Trump is going to make an example of him
I think
no
so.
matter
I
what.
think they need to.
So the media can't,
Yep.
use it. And
Yep.
unfortunately for this guy, if he is guilty, you signed your own death certificate. You might as well have just duked it out with the police and ended it there.
Yeah, you should
But
have just killed yourself.
yep, you didn't. You didn't have the balls. You fucking
Honestly, it's better for this country that he didn't.
yeah, for sure. Because there would have been more conspiracies
Yeah.
and more everything else. So
Yep. Yep.
we'll see where this goes now.
All right.
All right,
Now
let's move on.
you want to go to the bigger news?
Hit me with
World War III started.
it. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. Uh, Israel is not fucking around.
No.
Iran
No.
is not backing down.
No.
And Israel struck obviously Iranian nuclear sites. For everyone who knows, Israel had found specific intelligence that Iran was working on delivery systems to deliver nukes that were uranium was enriched to 60%, which 60% can be used in a dirty bomb capacity and fuck people up, and has low yield nuclear capabilities. It's not high yield yet. They have to refine that 60% one more time, put them through some upgraded centrifuges, and they upgrade that plutonium. And now you're looking at a low to mid-grade, mid-yield nuclear device, right? So they are like months away from having a nuke, their first couple nukes, right? Not like years, which was thought, months, if that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Iran decided upon themselves 8 months ago that they were gonna prep a plan and take out as much of the Iranian infrastructure as they could to stop this, and they put the plan into action. And the plan was absolutely beautiful. It involved flipping Iranians that were high up in their government and in their military. Um, it allowed them to bring a bunch of Iranian Air Force people and the people that would control their launching of missiles and scientists and all sorts of people to a meeting, and they bombed the meeting. They brought in and snuck in rockets, missiles, and had them in rocket and missile batteries that were inside rocks.
Yeah, so like when we talked about it, like you said, which will stick with me forever, the pagers on steroids, right?
Pagers on
Like
steroids, yeah.
yeah, just I chuckle now just thinking about that. Like, how can we do this better?
Yeah, that's
You know?
exactly it. It's like it's almost like they have 4 or 5 guys that are geniuses in a room, and they're
Yeah.
like, all right, you did pagers, I'll do radios. Oh, you did
Just-
radios? I'm doing rocks. They're
Just
like, what? What?
given an unlimited budget to
Yeah,
think however they want. Get
to
creative. Be
fuck you up. Yeah.
a fucking mercenary think tank.
These fuckers hollowed out rocks and made delivery systems out of the rocks. Put long yield batteries in there. Put um, basically like satellite connection in there, right? And ran it and had it there for 8 months. And then when the 0 hour came, they fucking launched fucking missiles from rocks into
Hmm.
Iran and killed Iranians and Iranian infrastructure. And I was telling you, I've seen this overseas where like they're picking up random things, and on the back of a bongo truck, you see a fucking rock, and you're like, "Why are you taking this rock?" And they're like, "Because it's a rock. It's beautiful. I like it." You know,
It's a really nice rock.
yeah. You're just like, "What?" But it's just a rock. I could just only imagine an Iranian picking up a rock with like some excavator, putting it down on a bongo truck, taking it to their property, dropping it on their whatever they have, and they're like, "Look at my rock," you know. And all of a sudden, 2 days ago, the fucking rock opens up and starts shooting missiles, and that guy was probably like, "Oh fuck,
Yeah.
my rock just shot rockets.
What just happened?
This is not okay. But dude, the Israelis are devious, bro. They're good at this. They are good at this whole
Yeah.
like you're gonna on the sly fuck your world up.
Yeah.
They've proven it, right? Like they have proven all the way from like Black September or whatever it was back in the day, or Black October, or whatever it was back in the day, where they killed the Iranians one by one by one after their Olympic team was killed. You
Yeah.
remember that whole spiel?
Oh yeah.
They hunted them fuckers down and killed
Hmm.
them one by one. Everybody that was a member of that terrorist group,
Madrid.
and just ripped them to shreds. And
Yeah.
you from then you're like, okay, the Israelis are not to be trifled with.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not playing around. They will, like you said, use an unlimited budget to tear that ass up. So again, they proved it. And Iran, for Iran's part, is like, okay, well, you just hit us and you hit our infrastructure, you hit our nuclear sites and killed our scientists, and pretty much all of our Air Force chain of command,
Yeah.
because the fucking insider brought them to a fucking meeting, brought their Air Force chain of command to a meeting. It was like, hey, you guys stay here. I got to run and grab something. Left, didn't show up, and then the airstrike was carried out and killed their Air Force command. So needless to say, Iran is looking for people. They need good candidates for their Air Force chain of command.
Yeah.
If you're, in the, you know, the position to get a new job and you want to move to Iran, that you have some Air Force background, they're looking. Uh, so they just destroyed them, right?
Hmm.
And Iran's response was to hit Tel Aviv and to hit population centers, and that pissed Israel off a little bit. So Israel launched more strikes.
Yeah.
And Israel said, if you hit our population centers again, Tehran will burn. It'll be nothing but rubble. And Iran continues to attack population centers. And when Israel says, we're going to turn you to rubble, I kind of believe them at this point. They said the same thing to Hamas, and Gaza looks like, I don't know, like a Semstone plant at this point. It, it doesn't resemble a city anymore. You know what I
No.
mean? It's like rocks. So I I don't know. Yeah, they're not fucking around, but it's just things are really starting to spiral, and Iran has threatened the United States. Obviously, the United States knew this attack was coming in advance because we started pulling our people out of that area. We started getting our families out of there and sending them home. And Pete Hegseth said free flights for anybody who wants to come home. They flew them on military aircraft back home. Um, Worried about Iran lashing out and carrying out attacks, and um, others, you know what I mean, doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
it's a wait and see moment. China has told the U.S. they don't agree with Israel's strike. They think it was wrong for Israel to do that, right?
Yeah.
Uh, China can go properly get fucked. I don't care what they think. You have Iran that has a death to America and death to Israel day, who's pledged as soon as they get the nuke, they're going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth because they believe it's their right to do so, or they
Right.
are the chosen people to do it. The Persians believe that.
Hmm.
So China can get fucked. I don't care. Israel is defending itself. Trump has come out and said we had nothing to do with the attack in Iran. If you launch a single missile or attack any of our people or our military, we are going to unleash hell on you, and there will be nothing left.
Yeah.
Um,
And Israel needs the U.S.
Yes.
because they don't have the capability to completely destroy the nuclear facilities without us,
No,
and we're not doing it.
we're not. Yeah. So, um, really, what Trump I think is doing is he's unleashed Netanyahu, and he said, "Go ahead, hit him, and then we'll try to force him into a deal." Because Iran threw the deal away
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago, right? Iran's like, "Fuck you, we're not making a deal."
Yeah.
So Trump's like, "Well, okay, but I'm telling you, bad things can happen." And then all of a sudden, Israel just goes junkyard dog and starts lighting up Iran. And Iran, for the most part, has launched whatever they could back at Israel. And if Israel didn't have an Iron Dome, they would be rubble as well right now, right?
Right.
Um, that Iron Dome is catching about 85 to 90% of the missiles and the drones that are coming through. And you're getting maybe like 2 out of 100 or 3 or 4 out of 100 that are hitting the cities right now.
Yeah.
Um, but even 2 or 3 or 4 out of 100, it's terrifying, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
if you're
That's
a civilian, that's terrifying.
yes.
Um, so it the whole situation is just absolutely crazy. You have honestly right now, like I printed out that list that I had today
Mm-hmm.
where the world in conflict. I mean, you've got conflict everywhere, everywhere. So yeah, World War III, low key is already going on, and it's been going on.
Yeah.
Um, it's just all these proxy wars, and it's all of these civil wars, and it's all of these drug wars, and it's all these separatist actions, and now you've got actual war between, like the whole freaking area is in conflict. Like you
Yeah.
just have what India and Pakistan 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, launching shit at each other. You've had Israel and Hamas going back and forth at it. Now you have Israel and Iran because Iran props up Hamas all the damn time and has attacked Israel on Hamas's behalf. So you have Russia and Ukraine. You have, like we talked about, the Congo's in freaking a civil war. Somalia is in a civil war. Syria is in a civil war. Yemen is in a civil war. All of these places, and sadly, this is going to be, it's kind of tragic, actually. All of these places that are in civil war, do you know why they're in a civil war? The United States of America. That's why. These places are in a civil war because Obama and the Arab Spring and getting rid of the stabilizing forces in the Middle East and
Yeah.
killing them off and getting rid of them. And then on the other hand, we prop up a Sunni over a Shia or a Shia over a Sunni, and it's just causing tons of trouble throughout the Middle East. And we just, it's us, man. Our greedy ass politicians are the ones that have caused all this instability all across the Middle East. We
Yeah.
created the terrorism. We created all that shit. We weren't smart enough to cut it off at the pass because our military industrial complex was greedy, and we did it to ourselves. But now we're really sliding down that slope. And you're right. This could be World War III. I mean, we could be seeing the beginning phases
Mm-hmm.
of World War III. Uh, we've already talked about China multiple times with Taiwan, and they have no choice. China's licking their chops. China's backing Iran and backing Russia, right? So now you have three or two nuclear power groups. Plus, I guess you can use North Korea as a nuclear powered entity, but North Korea would launch a nuke and they'd end up killing themselves because they're fucking tarded. So there's no way that I would ever consider North Korea as a legitimate threat. But you
No.
now have all this stuff going on, and it seems like it's spiraling out of control.
Yeah, it does. It does seem like that. It's hard to like. I'm trying to find the thing I read earlier. It sounded like Iran tried to get Russia to help them, and Russia's like, "Yeah, no thanks." Uh, and they just signed like that agreement in January of like mutual aid if one gets attacked.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting that Russia's like, "Yeah, no, we're not interested in this." Obviously they've got their own issues with the Ukraine war. They
Yeah.
can't possibly get on a two front war.
No, no.
And like you said about Kim Jong Un and North Korea, I mean, they just tried to launch a fucking destroyer and it sank it.
Tipped
Now
over.
they've floated it now, but nobody knows like the damage underneath. It's
All the electronics are gone. I mean,
yeah.
you can't drop something into salt water and think that you're gonna
Let's
save the
be honest here. There
electronics.
wasn't really electronics on that boat, anyways. It's just a shell.
Probably, you're probably right. It probably had nothing in it, but
Hmm.
uh, yeah, North Korea outside of taking out South Korea, a military asset, or hitting Americans in South Korea, North Korea doesn't really matter. They're off the table. They're not a serious fighting force. They can't be.
Yeah.
Um, China, if you look at China, we just watched that part of that documentary that I was talking about where they show like, China is building up against the United States building. They're outbuilding us 200 to 1 in tonnage uh
Hmm.
per naval vessel. Their navy now is like 3 times the size of ours. They have fifth gen fighters. They outnumber us like 6 to 2 or whatever it was at fifth gen fighters. It doesn't mean that their pilots are better or that their navy is better because they're not. They don't have the experience that we do. But they are outnumbering us in everything. They have more equipment. They have more tech. They have more pretty much everything that you could possibly have in a conflict. They have more of it because they have the manufacturing and no rules to follow, right? I mean,
Hmm.
everything for them is slave labor and everything for us is inflated. So it's harder for us to keep up with China. Russia can't fight on the two front war like you said. Russia's kind of on their own in this whole thing. They're
Yeah.
getting limited support. I mean, they have Georgia helping them out with some troops and they have North Koreans coming in and helping them out, but I mean, that's like a professional football team asking a peewee football team for help. You know what I mean? It does nothing for you, right? So
Hmm.
it tells you kind of where the world sits. The only country on the planet that could fight a 2 or 3 front war is the United States. And we can only do that because we have our allies. Um, so we're not really looking to get in a 2 or 3 front war either, right? And the scary thing now is like we had talked about before with the hacks, the Chinese hacks that are in our system with like Salt Typhoon and Silk Typhoon and all these hack operations that have taken place. Um, the next war for us is going to be a war to secure our infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing. So if World War III kicks off, they're not going to launch nukes at us because we have nukes to launch back. It's a shared
Correct.
mutual destruction. That's
Correct.
not going to happen. They're not going to sail their naval fleet over here because, well, we have enough to stop them and we're better trained and better equipped in our naval fleet. We'll have less ships, but our tech and our training is better. We coordinate better than they do. So they're not going to sail over here and try to kill us. They're not going to fly their Air Force over here because it's the same thing. Our Air Force is better trained, better equipped, and we have better coordination with our units. They don't have the time and grade, the time in war or combat to have that. The
Hmm.
only thing they really can do is either turn off the lights or launch a biological attack, something like that that would take out the people and not the infrastructure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's fucking terrifying when you consider that didn't they just catch 2 Chinese people with like some sort
But
of bio hazard or something
yeah, it's
like that?
like I mean, they basically called it a bioweapon, but it was a virus that take out crops and people.
See, and that's how they would have to do it, right?
Yeah.
They would have to develop something that they have a vaccine for, and they would just come over here and launch that and then go home and watch us drop one by one by one. Or even if they could take away 10% or 20% of our population, they'd win that. They'd we wouldn't be able to fight back. So it is terrifying, bro. It's extremely terrifying that we're seeing this unravel in front of our eyes. And I don't know if you remember this, but I think you called this. I think you called this like 3 or 4 episodes ago. I was going to ask you about that today. I think you said that we're going to see Israel hit Iran. And I'm pretty sure that was like 3 or 4 episodes ago. It was right before you left the team.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. And when I saw Israel hit Iran, I was like, yeah, huh. it was a good call. So, fuck, man.
I blacked out. I don't know what happened.
You're like, yeah,
Honestly, though, that's not the first time. So, like, Israel's claiming they were days away from a bomb,
yeah,
right? So they killed all of the fucking head nuclear people. They
yeah,
killed all the people in charge of the Air Force and the Revolutionary Guard.
yep.
They killed everyone to the point where the response took a little bit because there was no one in charge. Um, and they had
Yeah,
done that before. Like when they
yeah, oh yeah,
first started the nuclear program a long time ago, Israel took them out.
yep.
Then after that, when they got started back up, what did Israel do? They got in there and they
Melted
fucking
them down.
they made the pumps go fucking crazy, but giving off the readings that they were normal. So it
Right.
fucking melted them down.
Yeah, they hacked and melted them down.
Yeah.
Uh, look, Israel's not to be trifled with in that area.
No,
And
they
there's no
they
love lost
can't
between
let
Israel.
that happen.
Yeah, they can't. And there's no love lost between Israel and Iran.
Right.
You couldn't pick an easier target for Israel to say, okay, you want to see hold my beer. I'll go fuck them up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the two people they want to see dead are Hamas and Iran. And the only reason Iran is propping up Hamas is because of Israel's response to Iran when they killed all those terrorist groups, and then they killed the terrorist groups' families, and they killed the terrorist groups' friends,
Mm-hmm.
and the friends of the friends, and the friends of the
Yeah.
friends of the friends.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't stop, right? So
No.
Iran has hated Israel ever since. So, um, Iran has it in their minds that they are the ones that are going to take out the Zionists and get rid of all of Israel and unify Islam and create the caliphate. And to do that, they have to get rid of Israel, and they believe that wholeheartedly. The supreme leader believes that. Um, I don't know if he believes it anymore. Right now, he's probably thinking, "I hope this bunker is safe.
So
I hope our scientists were right."
yeah. So just real quick, we got a couple minutes here before our next intermission. Have you seen the thing about all the U.S. tankers getting up in the air? 24 U.S. tankers from around the country have gotten up in the air in the last 30 minutes and have are headed over the pond.
Well, that just tells you that your B-17s and your stealth bombers are in the air right now.
Yep. So they
So,
said it's this is from that Mario Nafal.
yep,
So
no fall.
something's up. U.S. Air Force tankers headed towards Europe. If you looked up today and you saw a swarm of massive Air Force planes, you're not imagining things. A large number of U.S. aerial refueling tankers, essentially flying gas stations, just took off from the bases across the country and appear to be en route to Europe. Whatever's coming, it doesn't look small. You don't launch this many tankers unless you're preparing to keep a lot of jets in the air.
Which they probably are.
They are.
Um, I so I mean, what is this going to be? Is it going to be just over Iran? Is it going to be? Eh, who knows? How
Yeah, I
many
know.
did you say that was?
24.
24 tankers. What do we have for time?
We
We have
have
20
1 minute,
seconds.
20 seconds. So look up your math and then we'll do it on the next intermission.
All right. All
All
right. So
right.
that's interesting.
So turns out
Yep.
that NATO or Finland is conducting the NATO Atlantic Trident 25 uh, exercise that goes from the 6th to the 29th or something.
Which,
Or the 16th to the 29th, sorry.
yeah, yeah. Which is a hell of a lot better than you scaring the shit out of me and telling me that we have how many tankers going over there?
It was 24.
24 tankers. I just want to throw this number out at you
Yeah.
because I was going kind of crazy thinking about this. Um, that's 4,800,000 pounds of fuel
Yeah.
in the air flying overseas.
Mm,
Uh, the KC-135 Strato tanker holds 200,000 pounds of fuel. That's like approximately 31,000 gallons.
okay.
And it was, if just say it was going over to attack Iran, um, it has a ridiculously long range because it can use its own fuel to supplement its tanks.
Okay.
Uh, and the B2 holds 167,000 pounds of fuel. So our stealth bombers would take off from here. They have a 6,900-mile range, which puts them pretty much over top of Iran. And they would have to refuel to get back here. So those tankers would be somewhere over in Europe, and they would basically refuel the B2, and the B2 would just come home. It would do a bombing operation and then just come home. So then I got interested and I wanted to really look. And I looked at the F-22, the Raptor. That's another stealth fighter. That holds 1,800 pounds of fuel, and it can be increased to 20,000 pound external fuel tanks, but they don't really use them because it decreases the stealth.
Sure.
And they get 1,850 miles of range. So the B2 gets way more range, holds way more fuel, and is way more damage, does way more damage to the target than the F-22 or the F-35.
Hmm.
So really, I mean, if you think about it, these tankers exist so that we can get our stealth bombers anywhere in the world and fuck you up quick.
That'd be now just real quick math. That's two bombers per plane.
Yeah,
So you
roughly
48 bombers.
48 bombers. Yeah, you could
Holy
have
fuck.
48 stealth bombers show up on your doorstep, which are nuclear capable as well,
Yeah.
and could drop off a payload of who knows, right? And all the munitions on B2 bombers are there's different varying degrees of tech, right? You have dumb bombs, which we don't use anymore. We only use smart bombs. But then you have
Yeah.
Gen 1, 2, and 3 smart bombs. If you're dropping a Gen 3 smart bomb, according to this, it's accurate to within 6 inches.
Good God.
So you're dead. It's
Yeah.
game over.
Yeah. You might as well try to catch it.
Yeah, you might exactly. You might as well open your mouth and be like, ah, well, yeah, it's over for you. So that's kind of terrifying when you see 24 of those things go up in the air if you're Iran. Right now, Iran's got to be praying, like, okay, let's hope that it is a NATO exercise and
Yeah.
those planes that we will not ever see, will not ever hear, will not know they're upon
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
until shit starts blowing up all over the place.
Especially because a lot of your air defense was taken out right away.
Yeah. So, I mean, not only can
Like,
you not see them because
yeah, because you don't have the capability,
right,
but now you don't have any equipment.
you don't have, you have nothing. So you're just a
you
sitting duck.
you can't even pretend like, oh yeah, we can see him with these.
Right.
No,
You
you
have
don't have
nothing.
it. You have nothing. You've got like a fucking Tonka truck.
Right. I mean, you might as well be using binoculars at night to try to find these things, right? So, I mean,
I don't see anything,
I can hear it. I think. Do you hear that? I think I don't know. I don't know. They got to be over there just praying that this is a NATO exercise and
dude.
not something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is a reason why we are still the deadliest fighting force on the planet, and
hmm
it's our levels of coordination, the amount of training we actually put in, and
Not
we're
into
a
marching.
volunteer.
Not into marching.
Yeah, right. We'll talk about that next. We're a volunteer fighting force, right?
Yeah.
Most other countries are not that we would fight, right? You're voluntold that you're going to be in the military in those countries, so it sets us apart. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I love I love that not into marching. And no, we are not. You will not find like we talked about this at work today, right? So we had the military parade. If you can find me one military service member that's ever excited to be in a fucking parade, I'll mail you $100. And I'm not
Well,
talking like your local 4th of July parade.
no,
I'm
you
talking
said any
about
parade.
no, no, no. I didn't say any parade.
We'll
I'm
rewind
talking
it.
about yeah,
I'll play it twice.
I'm talking about being in a military uniform, having to fucking be ridiculed by your chain of command that your uniform doesn't look good enough because you're going before somebody in a like a passing review or something like that, and it's awful. I could tell you like Trump, that's cool. It was the military's,
Yeah.
it was the
Yeah.
Army's birthday, 250 years. You're putting on a parade to honor these guys. They hate you for it right now. They are so pissed.
Yeah.
You fucking threw a parade on a Saturday. They
Yeah.
sweat their balls off. They had to
Yeah.
walk all over the place in
hmm
fucking. They
hmm
were not happy. They fucking hated every minute of
Yeah.
that fucking parade.
Yeah.
And they probably walked right past you and looked at you, and they were probably silently saying, "You motherfucker,
Yeah.
you motherfucker." That's probably what they were saying. But that's just personal experience. Uh, that
Next time
yes, I've
they should get each one of the units afloat. And
right.
that
Just
then they don't have to march. You pick out a couple people that were honored for whatever and the
ho- ho- not only just let me throw this at you. Not only this is just, I know these cats were pissed. Not only
Yeah.
were some of them marching in their own combat uniforms, some were marching in Cotton World War One uniforms, Cotton
Yes.
World War Two uniforms. Some were marching in Desert Cami uniforms from the first Gulf War, from Vietnam, from Korea. They marched in every major
Did the
conflict's uniform.
Revolutionary War too, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
those
Every uniform. Those poor sons of bitches are really pissed at you right now, Trump.
I'm sure those
Really
were
pissed.
the moisture wicking
Yeah, I'm
uniforms.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Drink more water, airborne. Take a knee and face the fuck out. That's exactly what was said. I don't feel good. Yeah, drink water.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
that's exactly what was said. And I've done this, like, and people were saying this is like a dictator's move. It's
Yeah.
a military parade, and oh, he's whatever. Every freaking division that we have has a parade every year, and the whole division walks through it. So 30, 40, 50,000 dudes and all your equipment is going through. Like, you have this, right? We have it where I was. We had what was called pass and review, and the president would show up, and you were in your class A's, and you fucking hated life because your class A's had to be absolutely perfect, and you didn't do it yourself. You brought it to a Korean sew shop so they could fucking put your class A's together. You had to pay money for it, and you sweat your fucking dick off. You had to like do drill and ceremony for 2 or 3 weeks prior,
Yeah.
just so you remembered the shit, because you just were killing people in fucking Afghanistan or Iraq. And like, you didn't want to come home and certainly go into a fucking parade. All
Yeah.
you wanted to do was go to the beach and drink some fucking beer on your Saturday. But instead, somebody got the idea, like, hey, let's do a fucking division parade. Well, Trump just did it with like, hey, let's do an entire military parade. Let's get everybody. Let's piss them all off.
Yeah.
They were pissed. 100%.
Of course.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But
Especially the guys in the World War One, Revolutionary War,
I can't even imagine.
World War Two uniforms. They were like, how the fuck did we get here?
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah. What did
So
I do?
yeah. But it's on from me being me sitting back watching this. I was just kind of chuckling, going,
Yeah.
"Fuck you, little fuckers! This is
Yeah.
what you get now. You're not overseas sweating your balls
Yeah.
off in the dirt.
Yeah.
This is your moment. This is us as veterans looking at you, going, oh, fuck you." And
I think you'd
they
rather
did.
take the parade than getting shot at though.
Oh yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
100%. But
Yeah.
these poor kids, man. It was cool for us to see on the outside, to see all the uniforms coming
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
with time appropriate equipment coming through, planes flying overhead, Sherman tanks going down the freaking roads,
Yeah. That
all the
was
way
cool.
from like, the First World War all the way up to, today.
hmm
It was really cool to see, and it was meant to be 250 years of service by the Army, right?
Yeah.
And it was showing through the 250 years what they look like. And it was a really cool kind of thing, but those poor bastards.
Yeah.
Those poor bastards.
Can I ask you a dumb question?
Sure.
Is that so? Like you were talking about, every division does a parade or whatever, or
Hmm.
like a thing
Hmm.
for the other branches. Is that
Oh
like
yeah.
fleet? Is that like Fleet Week for the Navy when they go into the ports and they all have to fucking dress up and
Yep. They're on their
like,
squibbies and they
yeah,
look like Popeye, and they do shit
okay.
like that too. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just like that then.
Yep. So for us, we had what was called All American Week, where all of the old vets from World War II would show up, and you got to talk with those guys, and they all of your units have been around since World War II, so they would come back to their own companies, and they would meet you, and you had all these events, and it culminated with a pass and review where you did this parade. You in the morning you would go on a division run, and everybody would run, and there's people on the sides of the roads and cheering for you as you ran through and saying the most obnoxious cadence you could. Like you're cutting people up and stuff like that in your cadence. I mean, it was just bad. But it was a week-long thing, and that's what the same thing with the Navy. Ours is All American Week, and theirs is Fleet Week, and the Marines are part of that too. And Fleet Week is actually I don't know if you've ever really caught it. There's some really cool demonstrations that are done during Fleet Week.
I've never
Um,
seen it.
oh,
I've just heard of it.
there's some really cool demonstrations where like I caught one a couple years ago where the Marines have like a paraglider group, just like
Okay.
Hamas into Israel, like that kind of shit. You should
Really?
look that. Yeah, you should look that up. It's a thing. I had no idea, but yes, it is an absolute thing.
Huh.
Um, and then
Weird.
they do like Navy SEALs will do a demonstration. Their fast boats do a demonstration. It's just a kind of a cool
That'd
thing
be
to see.
cool. Yeah.
All American Week, all that we do is we jump out of airplanes and blow shit up and shoot stuff, and they see us on ranges, and then we do this freaking pass and review and sweat our dicks off and like are very angry. And like they know that they're pissing you off. And you know how we know this? We had our M4s and we had a bayonet, right?
Yeah.
But they took the bolts out of our rifles. They wouldn't let us have a bolt in our rifle because the president was there and he was making us do pass and review. And they were afraid that true story. Um,
Jesus Christ.
yeah. So these guys don't enjoy what's taking place. They're fucking pissed off. It's a Saturday, man. Like nobody wants to be at work on a Saturday,
Yeah.
sweating their ass off doing DNC. Drill and ceremony is the least fun thing to do besides a 10-mile run or some shit like that. Like drill and ceremony sucks. So nobody wants to do it. And the kids that do want to do it, we call them dorks. They're LARPers. So fuck that.
The LARPers.
Yeah, they're not even real soldiers. They're just get the fuck out of here. If you tell me you like to do DNC, like shut the fuck up. That's not true. Nobody likes drill and ceremony. Nobody.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, yeah. So I felt bad for these kids because the looks on their faces as they were coming down the road, the more videos I saw, I was like, oh, yeah, that looks about right. You're pissed off. You're pissed off. You're pissed off. Yep. Yep. You're pissed off. You're pissed
Yeah.
off. Oh, you're really pissed off. Yep. You're pissed off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It was cool for us to see on the outside, but they were not having fun.
Hmm.
100% not having fun.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very cool to see. Very, very cool to see. There's a lot going on in the world right now.
Yeah, there is.
Apparently, Iran has launched more rockets and missiles at Israel. That is taking place right now. Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Did you see the arresting photo of the guy?
Yeah.
He was in that blue
Yep.
uniform still.
And that green jacket.
Idiot. It sounds like Iran is fucking up central Israel right now.
Yeah, it sounds like the Iron Dome has failed
Yep.
tonight.
Yep. That's too bad.
So
So here's
the conspiracy now that I've seen is, did it fail, or are they trying to get the U.S. to get involved?
ugh, I'm sure it failed.
Lindsey
So
Graham's been licking his chops.
I know he wants us there so bad, but he's again another war hawk piece of shit. And Israel just took out Iran's energy infrastructure.
Yeah, Iran's
So
gonna be going dark.
Iran has no power in Tehran right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's shit's starting to spool up between these two. But so like the Iron Dome, like if the thing that kind of shocks me is and you see you could even use this with like Russia and Ukraine too. When the United States carries out strikes against the country,
Hmm.
we do it in like layers, right? Um, we call it a stack, okay? And
Okay.
so we stack aircraft at separate 1,000 feet, right? From like 14, 18,000 feet up to like 30,000 feet, right?
Hmm.
And so we have these aircraft in a stack. Um, and we do that so we can overwhelm their air defense,
Right.
right? So on the other side of it, we fire. The first thing we'll do is we'll come in with Tomahawk cruise missiles, either from ships or submarines or whatever. I mean, there's several different ways to launch Tomahawks, but we'll come
Hmm.
through with cruise missiles, and those are going to hit first. They come in first. And the thought process is as those are coming in, it's going to overwhelm the radar. And then our planes come in over top of it. So even if you have an air defense that's going to take out stuff, it's going to focus on missiles that are coming in, and then we'll drop bombs on top of it, and we overwhelm your air defense.
Okay.
And the first thing we do, the low flying planes hit your air defenses because the Tomahawks are coming in. The
Hmm.
Tomahawks are aimed at your air defenses. So we take out the first thing we do is we take out your defensive structure. The second thing we do is we take out your ability to have any kind of power in your city because a lot of your air defenses need power because they don't have generators like we do for
Yeah.
a lot of these countries that we fought. So we take out your power, and then the third is we just start fucking up your military installations, your airfields, your ability to get aircraft in the air, and we start taking out your runways, your
Sure.
aircraft,
Yeah.
and we piss pound you in what we've dubbed over and over shock and awe. And there's always some sort of special operations unit already on the ground that have designated these targets. They see these targets, they've already located them, right? And after we've pissed, pounded you like piss pounded you into the ground with our air power, we have total control of the air. Our ground forces push in, and then we mop your ass up.
Hmm.
The Iron Dome is a very different animal because it has so many missiles that can launch. So if you're Iran and you want to actually get your missiles in, you have to do that kind of an attack with the Tomahawks come in first, and you have other things on top to confuse the Iron Dome.
Sure.
So you could do it with drones, you could do it with low flying missiles coming in, and just stack up your missiles at different heights or different levels,
Hmm.
and then have aircraft above that. But it sounds like Israel took out all your aircraft, so
Yeah.
you don't really have much other than missiles. So to get through the Iron Dome, you'd have to do either drones on the bottom, low flying missiles on top, and then your hypersonic missiles above that to come in, and those are the ones that are going to hit.
Yeah.
And it looks like to me they started doing that because they're starting to see really, really large explosions now. Yeah,
Yeah. That's not good. Yeah.
Israel's
Israel's
getting
getting
fucked up
fucked
right
up.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is gonna spin out here in a little bit. This is gonna get crazy.
I think so
It,
too.
Israel doesn't have ground forces to put in Iran. They can't do it. So you can't fight Hamas and Iran at the same time. Plus, you're not a big country anyway. So Israel's gonna just completely destroy Iran in the next launch.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think that's what happens. Also think that they say um, thanks, but you don't get to veto anymore, and they try to take out the Ayatollah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a definite possibility. If he's even in Israel, you called out already that he probably could have left. So
Yeah, there was a post I saw about all the airspace in Iran was basically grounded, all but one 747 that was Iranian that was listed as a cargo plane, but it very clearly had windows on it that
yeah,
that took off and then went dark.
I mean, you could change the transponder on any plane so it registers as a cargo plane, and then
Sure. Yeah, the picture of it just showed like the double decker 747.
yeah, it's obviously personnel fleeing to go to a safe location somewhere,
Yeah.
trying to run the country from somewhere else. Every
Yeah.
every world leader who's about to be toppled does the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
you've seen the videos of the Iranians watching and cheering from the rooftops.
mm-mm.
There's videos of Iranians cheering the fucking strikes from Israel, like as they hit. I mean, they've
I
had they've had how many protests
Yeah.
Like there's a number of people there that want that regime change,
You
but it's not gonna go like every regime change we've ever tried.
yeah,
It never fucking goes right.
it's always a mess. But if you think about before the Ayatollah,
Yeah.
Iran was a westernized country. The Persians
Yeah.
were westernized. They
Yeah.
were the most western country in all of the Middle East.
Yep.
They had beautiful,
Hmm.
lavish, ornate buildings.
Yep.
They had a booming economy. They had strength all over the Middle East. I
Yeah.
mean, they were a military that was on par with the United States at one point in time because they had so much, they were oil rich and they
Yeah, they had
had,
the money.
but they also weren't an enemy,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it wasn't until the Ayatollah and the Shahzad and all that crap went down, and then the supreme leader and everything that happened in Iran over the course of the Iran Contra.
Hmm.
So uh it it just it spiraled out of control, and they took that country and made it went from being a gem in the Middle East
Yep.
to being a prison for its own people in the Middle East and a third world country.
Hmm.
And that's what hardline ideology does, whether you're left, right, whatever, strict Islamic rule, whatever it is, that hardline ideology, that's what dictators use, right? That's that.
Hmm.
And and that's what happened. I mean, that country went down so fast, went downhill insanely fast. And then, war after war, they went to war with Iraq, and we used them as a proxy war. We've sanctioned them beyond belief, and just they put themselves in that situation. But those
Hmm.
people there that remember the days of the Persians, where Iran was a Western culture and free, where women didn't have to walk around in hijabs, covered from head to toe, when they were, their education system was like number three on the planet,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
had a booming economy. They're still the elderly there. They remember that because that was in the 60s.
Yeah.
So they remember it. The 50s and the 60s were amazing for them, and then all of a sudden the late 60s and the 70s hit, and they just dropped off the face of the planet. So I'm sure there are a lot of people that are cheering on, like, hey, let's get rid of this fucking psychopath regime that we have, and
Hmm.
stop saying death to everyone and get back to being free. And we'll see.
Yeah.
That would be the best case scenario, is the elders in that country come back out and say this is what it was, and we do have a regime change there, and they do put some sort of democracy back in place like they had before. But I just I don't trust it because they have so
No.
many hardliners there. They just have so much.
Hmm.
It's another civil war is what it'll be. It'll be another Syria. It'll be another Yemen. It'll be another, you know, Congo. Another, you know,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But we also can't leave them with the ability to spin up centrifuges
Right.
to recreate, enrich uranium to create plutonium. I mean, that's the death sentence to anybody in the area. So it's gonna have to be dealt with sooner or later. And unfortunately, I think we're gonna see it within the next, if it's not happening now, we're gonna see it within the next couple of years for sure. There Trump's administration is going to deal with Iran one way or the other, whether they make a deal or they
Hmm.
wipe them off the face of the map. They will deal with them in this 4 years of Trump's administration, because we don't have any guarantees that a Democrat administration would deal with them.
Yeah.
So um, it's going to happen one way or the other. So it's, again, I mean, it's just more war, right? And you're right, Lindsey Graham and all those war hawks are licking their chops, and they can't wait. I mean, they totally want us involved in this because it just means more zeros in their bank account. So um, it's kind of disgusting, but
It is. It's gross.
it is
He
gross.
said game on. Like, the fuck
Yeah,
is wrong with you?
this isn't a game. These are lives being lost,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I fucking hate that too. Because did I ever tell you the story about John McCain and went to Iraq while we were there?
I don't know. I don't think so.
This is like the stuff that pisses me off, right? Like a Lindsey Graham. they get kicks out of this because they can control their own little section of a war or whatever, right? We had John McCain show up, and we had to do his PTSD, his personal security detail. And we thought at the time, we thought, hey, you know what? This is going to be great. We're going to have John McCain, a badass U.S. senator at the time, before I knew he was a fucking slime ball.
Yeah.
We're like, this is so cool. We're going to have a U.S. senator with us in our vehicles, and we're doing his security detail. It's fucking awesome, right? So we intentionally left dudes out of our vehicle, all of our vehicles. We only had five. We left dudes out of our five vehicles because we were leaving seats for his group, right? You don't do that. That sucks because if you get hit, you need all the bodies you can possibly have to fight off anything that's coming, right? So we go to this freaking LZ, and it was on oh god, it was Fob Shield, I think. It was called Fob Shield. And a helicopter lands, and right as the helicopter's coming into land, four more Humvees roll up, and all these brass get out, and fucking McCain lands, gets in their Humvee. They come tell us to drive like 800 meters in front of them. I am the driver. I'm the truck commander, the TC in Victor One, Vehicle One.
Yeah.
And now I am fully well aware that I am a fucking IED sponge for John McCain, 800
Yeah.
meters behind me. Right.
Yep. Yep.
And we rolled all over that motherfucker driving around. And I have never been more pissed in my entire life.
I bet.
And
You
it's
should have
that
been.
kind. Oh, for sure. It's that kind of shit that the Lindsey Grahams of the world, they're just out there to sightsee, right? This is money to them. This is investing in freaking Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, and
Mm-hmm.
this is great for them. This is what they do best: create wars and make money, right? But for me on the ground, I don't want to be a part of your fucking sightseeing. I left five dudes out of our vehicles. I did all of our trip tickets and planned all of our guys going out on operations on missions. I did that. That was me. And I had to leave five dudes out of vehicles because we thought you had five guys jumping into our vehicles. I put us at a -5, and you were getting in another fucking vehicle anyway,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you told us we were your security detail. What you meant by that was you're going to drive ahead of me and die so I can live, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I remember most about politicians and wars. Like, fuck you, stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home. Don't come sightsee. You already sent us here. You're getting intel packages all the goddamn time. You don't need a photo op. Your photo op means I could fucking die. Take your
Mm-hmm.
fucking happy ass home and stay there.
Yeah.
Watch on fucking CNN. Um, and that's why every time I see people like Lindsey Graham or John McCain, I'm just like, you scuzzy fucking slimeball.
Yeah.
Because they love it.
Yeah, that's
They,
fucked up.
yeah. Game on, right? Game on. Okay, well,
Game
game
on.
on.
Yeah.
Game on. It's a game to you. It's a game to
Mm-hmm.
you, but mothers and fathers are losing their sons and daughters. It's just, it's war, and it's definitely not a fucking game. And I don't know. That just drives me crazy.
Yeah, I
We can't,
understand.
we can't get rid of Lindsey Graham fast enough.
No, we can't, but they're never going to.
Yeah. He'll
He's
age
gonna
out.
be the fucking he's gonna be the new fucking what's his name? The guy that can't fucking move. Freezes up.
Oh, Mitch.
McConnell. Yeah, he's gonna be the new
Yeah.
McConnell. He's gonna be in there until they fucking he literally can't do it. Or
Isn't that
beyond
isn't
that.
that have we learned nothing from the Biden administration? I mean, you're a fucking your aides are doing everything for you. You're not doing anything.
Yeah, you should have age limits and term limits.
We need term limits. Both. The funny thing is now both Democrats and Republicans are agreeing on term limits. Maybe not the politicians, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but the voters are like, yeah,
Well,
we need term limits.
80% want term limits.
Of course,
Yeah.
we should.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But like I realized over this watching a lot of these protesters that weren't absolutely fucking psychopathic crazy on No King's Day. Um, there's a lot that think like we do.
Yeah.
They're saying the same things. They're just coming at it from they've been told Trump is an evil, vile Nazi,
Yes. Yeah.
but they still want the same things. They want They want the elite to not fuck us over. They don't want to be taxed to death. They want the economy to work for them, and they want term limits for their representatives. And I'm like, well, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I want too.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how are we having this battle back and forth when we want the same thing?
Different ways to get there.
Different ways to get there, and it's all about creating that division so that it's divide and conquer. They
Mm-hmm.
can control us by political party division.
Yep.
It is what it is. But I tell you,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a long day, bro. We should wrap
Yeah.
this one up. 'Cause I'm gonna
Yeah, I got
fall
a lot of
asleep.
stuff I got to do.
Yeah, you're heading out.
We're going on a little road trip.
I can't wait to hear how this goes.
Yeah, I'm terrified of how it's gonna go.
You should be.
We're on the road for 14 days.
Yeah,
So
your kids aren't going to have any sharp objects, are you?
I think I need to worry about Brenda having a sharp object.
Well, yeah, probably, but
I don't know.
I just don't want to see you get shanked from the back seat because,
Well, they're strapped into the 5-point harness still. They can't fucking reach. And
bro,
they
some of the
certainly can't.
stories that you have shared,
Well,
those kids are going to figure it out.
yeah, well, they're just gonna get me in my sleep.
Yeah, probably. That's probably true.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I hope they do well because if they
Night
do
night,
well,
Dad, will they fucking plug my nose?
I don't think Dad's breathing.
Yeah.
Uh, this is going to be one of those trips where if they do well, they're going to love every bit of it.
Yeah, if they do well, there's already one on the books for next year.
Yeah,
We have to go out west again for a family thing, so we'll just drive and hit up the parks. I think we're going to 7 states this year and 7 or 8 national parks.
that's cool.
So
That's my kind of vacation.
yeah, well, it doesn't involve an airplane. It's all that's you.
Yep. 100%.
I've learned.
That's why it's my kind of vacation. I don't
I
need.
understand. Yeah.
Yep. No, fuck that.
Yep.
Well,
So
well,
we'll
that's
see.
cool. That's cool. Good luck.
Thanks.
Send pictures. You better send some pics.
Well, I'll send some pics and
Not
then
dick pics. I just want like pictures of mountains and streams, and
I'm gonna send you dick pics.
I don't know. I mean, I'll take them.
They're not gonna be mine.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna Google them.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Send him Ben dick pics?
Oh, that's gonna be real good. Real good. Is this for the podcast? No, this is for us.
Yeah.
Great.
It's just for Ben. He really likes dicks.
Yeah, great. Thanks. And I'm
Well,
gonna be getting them, and my wife's gonna be going, "What in the fuck is this?"
well,
And I'll
it's
be
a
like,
penis.
"Well, Pat's sending dick pics, honey. I don't know what to tell you." Like, yeah, explain
Mhm.
that one.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty self-explanatory.
Well, yeah, it's just for her, it's gonna be instantaneous. She's gonna look at it and be like, I had a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew it.
Well, good luck with your trip, man. Hope you
Yeah,
have fun.
thank you.
Send pics,
I
and
will do that. We'll talk about it when we get back.
for sure, I want to hear. Everybody's gonna want a full update.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be kind of cool.
Yep. I plan on yeah, I got a lot of ideas. We'll see if that works out. I got a dash cam for some of the scenic drives, so
Nice,
hopefully that works
nice.
out to just mount that and record that, and
I hope so.
we'll see.
You should have told me I have 2 GoPros. I would have gave you.
Hmm. We could drive to my house tomorrow and give them to me. We leave on Tuesday
I could do that. Oh wait, no, I can't do that. I have volleyball.
because you got to cross into Minnesota.
Yes, there's that too. Uh, bigger, faster, stronger. BFS. My kids in volleyball
Oh,
right now,
yeah,
trying to make their varsity team. So
right on.
I won't be able to.
No, that's all right.
Uh,
I have a GoPro too, so
right on.
but
All right. Well, let's wrap it up, man. Hit them.
yep. Check us out on our website, bluecollartakes.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Truth,
You truth. Yeah, truth.
X. Did I say X?
X. X.
We
No, you
didn't
didn't.
even we didn't even talk about X and the battle between mom and dad.
We did last time a little bit.
I know, but well, that was all pretty much last time was.
Yeah.
But they kind of made up. They went to dinner together the other day.
Well, we knew what it was the whole time.
Yeah, for sure.
So
For
I mean,
sure.
it is what it is. I mean, They're smart. They're two geniuses that have $2 billion enterprises.
Yep,
One's got a billion dollar enterprise.
They have fuck you money and they don't care about being trolls.
No, they don't.
So
And
it's
they
a
love
bad
seeing
combo. Yeah.
It's great for us. It makes
Yeah,
great
for
content.
sure. For sure. But
Yeah, check us
right on.
out on all that. And we'll try to get some more of these done when you get back from your vacay.
Yeah, we should be able to get one because I joined you guys right away again.
Yeah.
So we can get that one on 29th. Or
That'll
the
work.
third. Yeah, the 29th. We could do one that night.
Okay.
So right on.
Yeah, that'll work, man.
All
Well,
right,
everybody,
man.
thanks for tagging along. It's been an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So see you later.
Later, everyone. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Blue Collar Takes. Oh, and fuck YouTube.